Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dealerchat podcast. Today, with David Gott of the Lovely Car Company, James Harding of CG Car Sales, myself, Joe Betty of Barry Motors, and this week we are graced with James Alford of James Alford Racing, Platinum Car Centre, Platinum Trade Centre, Platinum Gin.
Oh,
the list goes
that
on.
One out of there.
Platinum card.
James is back on, which I thought it'd be good to have a less formal one. And obviously, Dave and James never met on the last one because Dave was doing something. I can't remember.
No, you did. You dropped in. You were like in a car dropping it.
I got it mixed up the times.
Right.
Yeah, I'm excited for this, James. Buzzing to meet you, like properly in person.
Yeah,
on the internet. That's it.
In person on the internet. Yeah.
It's about as close as it gets these days with most things.
Oh, I don't know. I've been trying to do the rounds if I'm all around the country. I was going to swing by the other day, but you were off on a jolly somewhere. So, yeah, I'm trying. I'm making the effort because I'm the furthest away from everybody, aren't I? Realistically.
Yeah, that is true.
And what's it like being that far away then, James? For like buying cars, is it a night? Because like with me being right in the middle, it's quite easy. You're like an hour from everywhere, but you're bloody miles away.
I've got a Mannheim 12 minutes away.
Bristol. Oh, Plymouth.
No, Plymouth.
Yeah, Plymouth Manor. This is a point I've always made to people about us in the southwest is what they don't understand. They go, "Oh, cars are a bit more expensive down there." It's like, well, if you want to get a car from anywhere in the country, it's going to cost you like 300 quid. So no shit, Sherlock, they're a bit more expensive down here because we don't have the supply, so we have to get from up country, and then then the costs increase. That's why there's a bit of a premium.
Yeah, people don't understand it, but again, like we're quite lucky. We've got quite a lot of car dealerships down this way, and most of them either end up towards Mannheim or there or thereabouts. And BCA Bridgewater's not a million miles away, but I don't buy from BCA. But that's another day. It's for another day.
I'm not having much luck with BCA at the moment, it has to be said. Maybe I need
So
to...
You had a bit of a buying session at Mannheim yesterday, didn't you? Sorry.
No, that was an underwhelming one. That was disappointing. So,
how many did you buy?
8, 7,
right.
8. So we like to be around the sort of 12, 13. And then on a Tuesday, I buy from Bristol for the vans. So we'll buy between 5 and 9 vans on a Tuesday. But I've still got the vans are relatively new still. It's only a couple of years old, the company. So I get really excited about buying vans, the cars, and I'm like a bit like, But yesterday was so difficult to buy. It was I bought quite an eclectic selection of weirdness. But I like them all.
We were chatting before you came on. We were saying we thought possibly that a lot of people have been saying they've been quiet the last few months, and over the last couple of weeks, I've been hearing a lot of people saying they're picking up. So you have to wonder if like everybody was trying to restock again yesterday because they've had a nice little bit of a run, and that's what was pushing the prices up.
It's been like it for about a month. Like it always, every beginning of September, everyone loses their mind. They're like, September busiest month ever. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna buy all this sort of jazz, and it is quite irritating because it never really allows you to have sort of like a static line across what you're doing, like sales wise. But we tried something new this year. So in June, I started buying really aggressively to make sure that I was overstocked for July and August, which are primarily quiet months. And we sold 40 cars, over 40 cars, both July and August, which is about 20 more than what we normally do. So whether it's something different that's happened in the market or what I did, I'm just trying to figure out and get all the figures together to get it right.
Yeah, it's difficult to try and judge trends, isn't it? It's like when you buy a car and that flew out the door. That's definitely something. You get another one exactly the same, and it doesn't go anywhere.
No. Like, well, we have it sometimes. We'll buy like 8 Ford Focuses, and I love a Focus. They drive nice. They're good value. Just everything about it is pretty decent. And you'll have 5 in, and you'll sell 5, and you'll be like, I need 5 more. You buy 5 more, and then you're looking at them for 4 weeks, and you're just like, oh my god, like what's going on? But we try our best.
You met the demand in your area for Ford Focuses.
Oh, completely.
Everyone who wanted a Ford Focus in your area, you sold them one. No one else wants one now. That's how I always think about it. It's like, are they really popular, or have I just met the demand for the area?
Yeah, Tiguan's are another one. I really, really, really like a Tiguan, and I can never buy enough of them. And then all of a sudden, 3 present themselves, and you buy all 3, and then you look at them for a month, and then all of a sudden they sell, like in one go. Like
it's so annoying.
Like if there was a magic formula, we'd all use it.
Yeah, exactly
dealers
that.
do it all for us.
Exactly. So I've got an
Yeah, I don't
sorry,
think
Joe.
many
I've got an under jazz at the
Go on.
minute, and you lads seen it, and you were like, "Oh my god, that is Partex gold! It'll sell straight away. Automatic, grey, full under history, 24,000. That's 2 months ago, and it's still here." And I'm like, "Why is it still here? Like, you just can't get. There's no."
Yeah, see, low mileage stuff, I never know with low mileage stuff if someone's really prepared to pay that much of a premium for maybe an older shaped car. But then Theo flies for them, doesn't he?
This is something I've only learned this year. A couple of things. A, you'd think that when everyone's busy selling at auctions, selling cars, that's when cars would be expensive at auction because everyone's like needing to restock. But actually, it's the other way around, I think, because when everyone's really busy, all the part exchanges are coming in and they're going to auction and all that sort of stuff. So if the trade's busy, there's loads of supply, the machine is running at full tilt. It's when people aren't selling, but people still want to do something. They still want to buy stock. They still want to get stuff in that there's less supply. So that's when the price goes up. So at the moment, I think we're still feeling like the hangover of it having been quiet for a couple of months. And prices are crazy. Every day I'm putting 20, 30 proxy bids in and I haven't bought anything for a while. And I don't understand because I'm going in quite strong. Just like, I'll buy the nice ones.
Do you go in at cap clean, Joe, when you're doing proxy bids? If it is like grade 1, grade 2?
I'll go over if needs be. I don't even really pay too much attention. To be fair, I quite like going quite a lot over cap if Auto Trader tells me that I can make money out of it. Because that's the ones that I think that will... This is James shaking his head down there.
I just made a stick noise. I vomited a little bit in my mouth.
I was talking about Auto Trader prices. We're still stuck in the Matrix, mate, so we're just playing by the rules.
James, do you allow for the fact that you know that a high proportion of what you sell is going to be financed, so you can say like bid a little bit higher than somebody else? Because that's what a lot of people in the comments would always say when we say, how are people paying these auction prices up? It's because they know they're going to make the money off the finance. Does that allow you to bid a little bit harder than others, do you think?
I don't ever bid hard. Ever.
No?
I won't pay over cap.
And James, do you always put a proxy bid in, James, or are you online?
Never proxy bid.
Right.
I do it online. So I'll do... sometimes I'll do a bit of homework. I'll be honest with you, it's a little bit childish the way that I do it. Depending on how I feel, like personally. So if I'm not in the best of like moods or frame of mind, I won't do my homework the night before because I won't be in the right mindset to do it. Whereas if I'm motivated and all that sort of jazz, I'll get home, I'll sit on the auction, I'll mark them all off, go through all the reports. I'll know exactly what I'm going to pay top end before I do it. And it's because it's so easy to get caught up in what everyone else is doing. And then what happens is obviously that split decision that you make then will affect you if you've still got that car on your forecourt in 2 months' time. But you don't think about that when you're bidding £200, £300, £500 over cap clean. You don't think, could I be sat on this car in 2 months? Will it be £600, £700 overpriced? So I won't pay over cap clean for anything unless it's entirely essential or I know what that car is. So there's some vehicles out there, like a lot of the French stuff, it caps like off. So I could sell 10 cars pretty much identical, and then one will come through and it'll look like it's £2,000 too cheap. So I'll bid what I bid on the other ones, not using Auto Trader, and it will come in at the right money, and I'll get a bit of a deal. So it comes and goes. It's just knowing what knowing what you're looking for and what you've sold previously.
Yeah, see, I never bid over. When I did auctions, and I don't really do them anymore, I would always just proxy bid what my max bid was, and then walk away, and then come back and see what won, because I got carried away too much if I watched it live. And half the time I would look at it and I'd go, "There's no way if you paying cap, there's a profit in that car. I don't understand how anyone's going to make a profit out of paying cap on that car." So normally I was quite below cap. But the only time I used to win stuff, as a general rule, was if it had some bodywork on it, because I just found most dealers didn't want to do bodywork. So those are the ones I only ever really managed to snag fairly cheaply.
Yeah, we do a lot of that. So if something's got a ding in a door or a scuff or a bumper slightly hanging off, I've got no problem getting it in, sending it straight to the body shop. I've got a system anyway, so I try and keep a lot of cars, about 15, 20 cars off site or in the garages, just to allow me that extra sort of capacity. So it just means that I've got to keep a constant flow going. So buying stuff with a little bit of Bodywork's no problem for us. I wouldn't think twice about it.
That's what I used to do. Buy a lot of
used
stuff
to
with
do that.
Bodywork. I used to love a newer car on a grade 3. I say a grade 4. Because sometimes it'd get back here and it won't be as bad as what, when you see the inspection report, it says like 2 grand's worth of damage.
Yeah.
But it'd be like 400 for us, won't it? They're the ones that I love buying.
Yeah.
It's all a risk. We're all,
I guess
realistically, we're all gambling men. It just depends, at the scale of how we gamble. Like Joe's completed it. So, we just sit back and everyone else is relaxing compared to what you've done.
Well, I've completed it, reached the end, and realised that
and you've gone back.
You've gone back. And I'm like, do you know what? I'm going to start it from the beginning and actually try and make some money this time. So I'm trying to be more sensible, avoid all the problems, like all the ones that need bodywork and the ones that might have an engine light on and whatever. I'm just like, do you know what? There might be a bigger margin in that one, maybe, but I'm gonna take the safe route and just like keep chipping away.
Do you think the whole industry? Do you think the whole industry is only fueled by people coming in at bottom, like a pyramid scheme? The people on that first rung of the ladder that have to buy the cheapies with the engine light on, and then we all gradually work our way up, and then someone has to come in at the bottom to keep. Oh yeah, I'm going to be a car dealer and start from that point and work their way back up, because we all seem to get to that point, don't we? Where it's like, I just can't be bothered with those anymore.
Well, it really is like a pyramid, isn't it? Like the car trade, if you think about it, because it goes like this. As the value goes up, everyone if you go into an auction and you try and buy like the £1,000, £2,000 cars, people pile all over them. You got to like beat your way through to have a look. There's people everywhere. But as the price goes up and up and up and up, there's less people looking around, are there? And then you get to like the Tom Hartleys of the world who are spending £2 million on Bugattis or whatever.
Look, I think the risk is higher.
There's also not as many people buying those.
That's so true, Joe, because back in the day, Niche and BCA, so they've got like 2 lanes. And there was like, this day there was a budget lane, what you're on about, and it was just, there was probably like 100 traders all, bidding. I was in there as well. And then the lane next to it was a Land Rover Mercedes lane. And there was, I swear to God, there was like 3 buyers in there. And that was it. And that's what I thought in my head. Like the penny sort of dropped. I thought, I need to be over in that other lane where, there isn't like shitloads of people there. You need to fish where the fewest people fish or something, isn't it? To make the money. We're all in that cheaper lane. Everyone's just going for the scraps, aren't they? Sort of thing.
That said, I did send Joe up a 67 plate Toyota with low mileage and take in a 2012 and a 2000. What was the other one? 11 bangers, a couple of bangers yesterday, didn't I? So I'm not sure I learnt my lesson that well.
I mean, to be fair, you're calling them bangers, but
yeah. No,
what's your idea?
They weren't bangers as in that, but obviously in the industry they'd be considered bangers, wouldn't they?
Yeah,
95,000 miles.
6 months away from having retailed those myself, but now
what would you call them bangers here? Like, I'm interested to know what on the banger scale. Can we confirm the banger scale?
I probably got pictures. One of them was a 2012 Toyota Verso on 95,000 miles.
That's not a banger. That's a beauty. That's a 7 sweater.
Yeah, is it a 7-seater or not?
No, it's not a 7. I don't think that one's a 7-seater. I don't know. I need to go and check. I haven't really looked at it yet.
It's a 7-seater. They're all 7-seaters, the Versos, aren't they?
Are they?
Don't know. But anyway,
people go mad. Obviously, there's a certain type of person that buys the Verso, but they're everywhere looking for one because they are good cars.
I absolutely agree, James. I mean, they would piss off my forecourt. If I did them full retail, they would piss off my forecourt because the other one was an automatic Astra 1.6, wasn't it, on a 2012 with 70,000 miles on it.
Oh,
someone's had a horrendous job at filling the rear quarter, but other than that, it's seemed all right. But no, they're the kind of cars here, sub 5k, just they'll fly out the door, absolutely fly out the door. Whereas a 67 plate RAV4, how long is it? That's what retails nearly 16 grand. How quickly is that going to move?
I reckon I'll sell that in 2 weeks tops.
Yeah, no, I think it'll probably sell quickly.
The only reason, do you know what? If there wasn't customers and there wasn't warranty claims, the 2 cars that I sent you were the things that I'd sell all day long.
Yeah.
Because, what did I sell it? Sell it to you that Verso, for example, for 1,800 quid, and the retail's nearly $5,000 or something, wasn't it? Like, or was it? Is it
4.5? I
7
think it
or
was.
something?
No, it'd be 5. Like whatever the book says, it'll be a little bit higher, and it was auto as well.
So
you
you
go
say
higher,
you
can
get
you?
5, and you've done a little bit on it. You got, you're making like 300% or 150% profit. That just
Gross
doesn't. Where
profit.
else do you get that kind of
Gross profit.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah.
Um,
No, I mean, I built my business on those kind of cars. They sell in around here. I'm known for those. People turn up day in, day out on the doorstep with that kind of money looking for a car from me because they've been told I can supply that kind of thing. So yeah, it does. They do work really well. They're just such a gamble when you put them in for the MOT. It can go one way or another. It can be 300 quid. It can be 1,200 quid. You just never know, do you?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because you've got a massive margin and an audience for it. So the numbers long term are there, and also as well, going back to my age-old thing, like I know you said, Dave, you've been fishing in this. You want to be fishing in the bigger pond. What a lot of people forget is if you get a problem with that big car, you haven't got to buy back a £5,000 car. You've got to buy back a £25,000 car, and that is cash flow death immediately. If you get 3 of those, like that can put someone in a real pickle real fast. And that's the thing. That
Oh
I
no,
try to
hey
steer
James,
clear of.
I agree with you 100%. My brain goes from one side to the next all the time. It's like we've took
Yeah, that's the trouble. You
We've
second
took
guess
a
yourself.
Peugeot 207 in Part X at the weekend. The chap's had it for 10 years. It's a 61 plate. It's got 50,000 on. It's stuff that I love to sell. It's got £2,000 in it. But then I got in and the window wasn't working. And then I'm like, it's the mini engine where the chain couldn't go. And it's the customer that's going to come on the pitch and do my head in, like some of these mockers we've got. And it's just not the way I want to go at the minute. I'm just going to try and go the other way this year and see what happens. But I fully agree with you. You know what I mean? If I had a mechanic here as well, if I had a garage, I might be more inclined to sell the really cheap stuff, but once it goes wrong, it just takes up all my time trying to fix it as well.
Yeah, and it's the types of customers
as well.
You can get, But what I always think is, you think about having spent say £2,000 on that and getting £5,000 back. If me and Dave could take all the money that we've got invested in stock into, how many cars we'd have, how many you'd sell, we'd retire in a couple of years. We would have more money than we know what to do with. But if it wasn't for customers' warranties, things going wrong with them all the time, and I think I've just been fingers burnt too many times. I haven't got the patience in me.
Another thing is, Joe, that
selling some old car.
The cheaper stuff as well. We could fill up the pitch with loads of cheap stuff, but I haven't got enough space to fill up the pitch with tons of cheap stuff. Like James, how many cars can you fit on yours?
I can only fit 37 on mine, but I've got nearly 60.
That's great.
So yeah, it's a little bit cheeky. A bit cheeky what we do, but I like to think it's quite, it's good usage of like the garages, body shops,
for
cars
storage
here, there, and everywhere. Like we'll leave it over at the auction hall for as long as we can. Pick it up at the very last minute, and we'll like wait on as we do handovers. We'll do like, so if we do 2 handovers on one day, we'll then go and grab 2 from ones that we've already paid for over at the auction to fill up that space. So I like to have it packed all the time, and like sometimes we might tax 1 or 2 and like park them nearby. I'm not afraid to do that. So you can use the space, or like I know some people like they'll go and buy like a little compound just down the road. But what I will say, with something that is out of sight, out of mind, you'll leave stuff to rot in there.
Yeah,
and that's not healthy.
100%.
See, I actually quite like a percentage of the people that come to buy the cheaper cars, because sometimes you've got someone who's on a limited budget, and the fact you're able to produce something that you have machine polished and properly valeted and put a new MOT on it, and they feel so much happier buying that than going and getting something private, and maybe it's someone's first car as well. It's quite nice providing with someone their first car. Again, and then the parents are there with them, and they're happy that their kid's getting into a decent motor and haven't had to buy a shed. It's quite nice. Yeah, you can get the people that have, like I've got a lady at the moment, so I don't know if I should tell this story now or not. Joe, do you want a story now?
Go on.
It's entirely up to you. You can save it. I mean, it won't affect you putting it out on your channel, I wouldn't have thought.
It's a 2006 RAV4 that I shouldn't have retailed, that was quite low mileage and it was super clean. And it's too far back because I sold it 5 months ago. And I can't really remember the sale at all. But looking at the invoice, I've knocked some money off of it. But it's gone out the door with 5 months MOT on it, which is something I wouldn't normally do. So I can only assume I gave a discount due to the leaving what was currently on it. And it must have had a clean MOT, because if it had loads of advisory, I would never send it out on the MOT. I had a phone call yesterday, a couple of days ago, from this lady saying, you said I'd get a free MOT with the car. I think this car's like $3,000. I said, really? She said, yeah. You said I'd get a free MOT with the car when it came around for MOT. I was like, oh, why would I do that? I just stuck an MOT on it before I went out the door. She said, no, you definitely said. So if you took it down your garage, you'd get me an MOT. I thought, okay. Well, perhaps I meant that I'd get it done for a trade rate, as in she could get the MOT done cheaply. So before I knew it, she's dropped the car down there, and she's messaged me and said, the guy said you'll pay for anything it needs doing. Like, you've been driving the car for 5 months. 5 months, and you want me to do anything that comes up on the MOT? So the MOT comes round, and the guys ring me and tell me what's on the MOT. I don't think they've ever have said that. They know the score. The MOT's come round, it needs a little bit of welding on it. I'm like, at the end of the day, it's under 6 months old. The welding potentially would have been on there at point of sale. So whether you think I'm soft or not, I've said, go ahead and I'll do the welding. But there's some stuff on there like a gaiter that needs replacing, like a rubber boot. And I said, I'm not doing that, because that could have, wasn't on the last MOT and could have happened in between. So she messages me yesterday and says to me, what's going on with the car? I've heard nothing at all on the car. I said, well, it's failed its MOT. I've told them the stuff that I'm happy to do. And she went, you're not doing it all. I'd have taken it somewhere else if I not realised you're not doing it all. I'm like, well, why would you want to take it somewhere else? I'm prepared to do some of it. You'd have to pay for all of it there. And just the attitude, just really, you bought a 2006 car. You've been driving it for 5 months. And you now think you're going to get a free MOT with any work that it requires done on a car that's like $3,000. So every now and then you do get somebody like that, and probably I should have just put my foot down more. But on the other side of it, sometimes you do get really nice people that are just ever so grateful that they've been able to buy a car cheaply that's properly prepared, and we've done the little bumper corners, and we've given it machine polish, and we've wet cleaned the seats, that kind of thing.
I'm going to verbally smack your legs for this. Okay. So you should put it on the receipt. Okay. So this is what we do. And we've been caught up in this before. So if you sell a car with, 8 months MOT, we put the MOT that it's supplied with, customer aware. And if you're giving a customer a discount for something, you would say to them, we've discounted this vehicle because you are aware of this bodywork, that fault, this electric window doesn't work. Because sometimes they do come in and they're like, I need the car today, I need it. But you've got to cover yourself and go, this is what the scenario is. If you've promised that person an MOT, okay, so sometimes we get it, we've got a car that we might have bought in and it's got 11 months MOT, but we want it to go through our garage just for peace of mind, because then we've got proof that car was fit for purpose at point of sale. We'll say, you have to bring that car back to us within 14 days or 30 days to get an MOT, not in 5 months once you've done X amount 1,000 miles, because you've basically left yourself wide open there. And unfortunately, you wouldn't have a leg to stand on if you turn around to her and said, you know what, screw you, I'm not doing the MOT, I'm not doing this, I'm not doing that, because it's not on the receipt, you've got no proof to say otherwise. So she's done.
I totally agree, and that's why I don't think
better nature. Basically, she's looked at you and thought, you know what a lovely guy, gonna fuck him.
Yeah. Well, the thing with it is that's why I don't believe I ever would have said it, because I'm actually religious at doing that. My forms, if they go out with any faults at all, it's all listed in there. On my invoices, I'll do line by line, agreeing what the prep's going to be, everything else. That's why I find it hard to believe I ever would have given a discount on a car without a full MOT on it, and then said I'd have MOT'd it for you 5 months later. It just doesn't make any sense at all. She's absolutely adamant I said I would do one.
Or what? Did something happen? Was she exceptionally attractive? Did something happen?
No. Money comes first every time, James. Money first every time, regardless of how attractive.
Something happened on that day.
I can only assume that somewhere between it was coming like, I can do the car for you with a brand new MOT, free brand new MOT, or we can do it this price. And she's basically taken the parts of the conversation she likes and combined them together to come up with, I get a discounted price and I get an MOT in 5 months' time. Because I've been around the block enough to know that after 5 months of driving a car around at that age, there could be any number of repairs needed.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. So great cars though.
But yeah, I say, how do you prove it one way or the other? And like I say, I wouldn't have a leg to stand on if it did go to court now, because they'd say the car wasn't fit for purpose or roadworthy because it needs welding, and it could be considered that was. I mean, it's only one bit on one little sill. And at the end of the day, it's a 2006 car. I'd assume that it would never need any welding, especially a 4x4 is ridiculous. But yeah, so because it's within 6 months, it could be assumed it was there at point of sale. So I've just bite the bullet, get on and get it done, move on, isn't it?
Just to interject here, this is exactly what I'm talking about when I say I don't want to deal with the cheap stuff and the problems that comes with it and all that sort of stuff. But it doesn't happen on 20-plate cars, you know, that it needs a bit of welding or whatever. Or
it just needs an ABS pump that's £3,000 instead.
However, Joe, yesterday
Possibly.
we sold a Golf R, 20 grand. So you do get nightmare customers with the expensive stuff. And he's getting it delivered. And when we advertised it, it said on the advert, you know, you take a picture of the odometer. I think it said like 20,000 and I don't say 100 miles. And then when the delivery companies come to pick it up, it says it's got like an extra 300 miles on the clock. And the customer's like, I'm not paying for the car because it's got an extra 300 miles on the car. And I'm like, it's 300 miles. I was like, to be fair, it was me that took it to a wedding because it's such a beautiful car. I wanted to drive at the wedding and come back, and that's why the extra miles are on it. And he was like, I want 400 quid off. And I just said, no, you are not getting 400 quid off for me driving 300 miles in that car. And the delivery guy was there for like 2 hours, and we were on the phone back and forth. And in the end, we said, look, we're keeping your £100 deposit and we're going to charge you for the delivery, or you pay for this now. And in the end, he paid for the car and he took it. So it's just another type of bollocks.
It's not a nice start to a relationship.
No,
though,
that's it. So now he's got the car.
Yeah, you're not going to be the end of that,
Exactly.
are you?
That's it. He's going to be in my life, isn't he, again? So
He's going to get that car forensically inspected now.
But it's such a nice car. I know it'll be fine. It's not like a cheap car where if you get inspected, it'll be bollocksed. Where this is, it's.
Oh, that's the worst. Cheap cars that they take to they then take to somebody else to check out, and it's like, okay, so your garage wants me to restore the car for you for £3,000.
I don't know, like the Golf, the VW stuff. I absolutely love VW stuff. Obviously, it's what we race and stuff. But like any of the electrical stuff, like you get a radar sensor fault on one of those, or like a parking sensor fault. It's like chase the ace. You know that you're £2,000 out immediately. As soon as you hit someone has that radar warning light come up on the dash, just your profit margin is dead and buried. It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
I was saying this the other day, James. I was saying this the other day on the video, James. What do you reckon it's going to be like in like another 10 years' time, though, when they are the type of cars that we are selling because they're now 10 years old or whatever, 12 years old? We're going to have to start saying we don't cover radar, we don't cover lane, because it's not going to be feasible, is it, within the price point?
That's the way. So obviously, this Google advertising that's coming out, this is going to be the way that it's going. So we've been doing it for quite some time now, where we don't put in the description what the car comes with, like all the extras or whatever, like Auto Trader does, which gets everybody in trouble, not me. So we just put a description about us as a company in the description, and if people want to know the extras, we'll walk them through the car and explain to them. But it will be a case of saying anything that isn't engine and gearbox related is not covered. If you want it to work, it's a negotiation that we can have separately. But like parking sensors, like the amount of people that like drive into stuff anyway, or like it's windy and a wheelie bin hits the corner of a Peugeot because all the parking sensor was always on the corner. If they take a whack, it pops the parking sensor in and it'll dangle down in there and break the wire, and then it'll cook the little BCI module in the boot. It's just little things like that. Like you just can't cover all of it on a £5,000, £6,000, £7,000 car, and it will be a case where we've got to say all the ancillaries and the extras are not covered.
And you've nailed it there as well.
Go on, Joe.
I was just going to say you've nailed it there, because you're going to have to make sure it's not in the listing, because if it's in the listing and a person has bought it on the basis it has parking sensors, radar, whatever, then it's not fit for purpose if they take it away. So you've got to strip all of that out of your listings. And I've done that recently on some cars as well. I've left features out because they're not features I'm going to cover. Sorry, Joe.
Well, I was going to say kind of the opposite, that I don't know, maybe you need to make the wording so that it's like put in there what you deem as fit for purpose. So we deem fit for purpose. This car will be able, watertight, secure. You'll be able to lock it, and drive it and whatever. But all the extra added things, it's not my responsibility. If someone buys a second-hand iPhone and the camera stops working, it's like, or I don't know, some app stops working, or the battery's not as good as it was. They're not bloody responsible, are they? But I think, I don't know, maybe I got a different view of what's fit for purpose. If you ask me, it must be just like, are you buying this for personal use, just social domestic pleasure? And they go, yeah. And you're like, okay, right, we'll tick that box then. So that means that so long as you can still do all that, drive round, pick up the kids or whatever, then that's fine. If you're like £5,000 virtual cockpit, which includes your stereo doesn't work, so you've got to drive in silence, that's not really unfit for purpose. It's not as glamorous or as fun as it was, but it seems unfair that the middle guy who's made the smallest amount of profit out of this car in its entire life, even the government's had more money out of you out of VAT over it 100 times. Why are we the ones that are stuck having to pay for it all?
Well, the thing with it is if we aren't permitted to do that, then quite frankly, those cars won't be able to sold by dealers. You're going to have to go and buy them all privately. It's not going to be feasible for a dealer to sell it. You can't sell £5,000 cars and be responsible for 2K of radar on it, can you?
No. So, James, will you say to a customer when the radar, because it's not, it's not a necessity, is it, that radar thing? It just tells you that the cars are coming towards you.
If depending on the vehicle, like, so we've had a couple of newer ones in and they've all worked fine, and we thought, you know what, we'll send them out as it is. But we've had ones with faults, and you can code them out, you can delete them, you can get the replacement grille, and you can have a grille that fits in there with no radar. So Volkswagen Audi stuff's pretty good with that. The Mercedes stuff's horrendous, so we won't buy that just because of that. And a lot of people that, I don't know why, it must be a Mercedes thing, but they just drive in stuff and it just breaks everything. So I don't know. We'll just stay away from that stuff that we know that we can rectify or deal with. Like if there's an opportunity to do something with, we'll go with that. And as the cars get newer and more advanced, it does become a little bit more dangerous.
I have to say though, I had a top customer the other day who had a Golf off me with the radar in it, and the bonnet latch went on it. I think I said in the chat, the bonnet latch went on. He couldn't get into the bonnet, and it snapped off in the bonnet end of it. And he said the only way I found online to do it is hack into the grille, which contains the radar. But then about an hour later, what a star, he says, I've looked online on the forums, and if you get wood wedges, you can wedge the bonnet up enough to get a 10mm spanner and undo latches. And I've made the wedges, and I've done it, and I've got in and done the latch. I was like, what a legend.
Nice.
Because somebody else would have just been, right, that's it, hack into it, take it to a garage. Garage says we need to hack into it. James, here's a bill for X amount for the radar. So there are some good ones out there.
Oh yeah, there's loads and loads and loads of good customers out there. There's so many of them that are willing to put in a little bit of work themselves, like replace the odd key battery, or like they'll just do little bits to assist you because they know that it's going to cost them more money sometimes to get down to you, get it sorted, be without a car, and they'll just put a bit of ingenuity into it. But the only ones that we really hear about and the ones that give us a headache are the ones that, the ones that do go mad turkey. They're the real problems. But it's just what we do. If it was easy, everyone would do it.
And it's just the minority, isn't it? It is the minority, but why does the minority stick in your throat so much?
Human nature, isn't it? We always focus on the negative.
Yeah, that's a culture of being a human, I think. Like you could have 10 lots of success and one bad thing, and you remember the bad thing, and you'll forget about the successful stuff. It's always the way.
Yeah. I think the thing is as well, in the car trade, it can be that one bad deal that can wipe out 3 or 4 other deals as well if it's expensive enough.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it will consume you for 2 weeks. I think a lot of people don't understand what we go through as dealers when it comes to cash flow complaints, how it affects us in the evenings when we try and go to sleep. There's a lot of stuff that that isn't people don't talk about, and it's pretty traumatic. Like they think that we're having the best time ever, but you add up 3 or 4 unpleasant things, and you get a couple of salesmen that take, I don't know, they sell 5 cars and they take £200 deposits and they want you to replace them. You've got to find £50,000 in 24 hours, but nobody talks about that. It's like an elephant in the room all the time.
Yeah, that's so true.
Yeah, especially it's when I'm using like stock funded and all that sort of stuff, and I just bought in 4 cars from one company, the same thing, and I got to pay off all their finance things and whatever. I can't put them on my stock funding because they got finance on them. So I got to pay them off. So I got to have all that money up front to pay them off. Wait for the market to clear before I could load them back and get any money back. And then you got all your other, the worst time I find, like you say, is when you've taken deposits on. You've had a real busy spell and you've taken deposits on loads of cars, but they're sat there just waiting to go out, and it's like 70 grand just sat there that you can't do anything with until they're ready to hand over. And then the day they do come and hand over, if they don't do a bank transfer and they do card, it's still until the next day that you get the money. And then you're just like, I need to fill those spaces back up. And unless you've got loads and loads of money, it is a real juggling act, isn't it? You're like, which one do I pay first? And then I always find when it comes to the end of the month is when I've just stocked up and it's, oh fuck, it's last Friday of the month. It's wages as well. That's like, 20 grand that's going, or whatever it is, 15. It's like,
and then
no.
It's like to a smaller level, like.
I was going to say, and like James said as well the other week, like, then you've got empty spaces on the pitch if you sold a load. So then you get a tight chest because you're like, oh God, I've got all these empty spaces. I need to fill them now. So it's just a constant circle of stress.
Well, yeah, it's like with my claim on my Nissan gearbox. Obviously, I'm a smaller dealer, so 5k on a pretty much what ended up being 4.5k on a Nissan gearbox. The next few deals you're working for free, and if they have claims, then you're down on those as well. I will point out, I don't know what your guys thought on it. I ended up getting 2.5k out of warranty wise for that.
That was good.
That's acceptable.
So it's not the full payment, but it's a healthy contribution,
at
isn't
least
it?
It wasn't a no.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I find that people complain about warranty companies and why they put policies on with warranty wise. I find if you have a conversation and you say, I haven't charged them for the loan car I let the customer have. I haven't charged them for the transport there and back to drop the car off to Exeter to get the work done. I've just taken a gearbox repair and they've paid a good proportion of that. And I think if you work with them, although I will say I had a phone call yesterday from a friend who's paying £150 a month for a warranty-wise plan on his van, and the turbo's just gone and they're refusing to do the turbo, and he's paying £150 a month on his plan. So hopefully I can help him get through. But yeah, no, I think if you work with them, if you're not stupid and you work with them and you're reasonable, I think obviously my average policy is what, £100, £120 a policy. So that's paid for a lot of policies, isn't it, really?
Yeah, swings and roundabouts, doesn't it? I've just had to do a timing chain and an active shock absorber on a bloody Audi RS4. That one that I bought because I was like, that'd be a bit of fun and I'll make a video out of it and I'll enjoy it. I might keep it myself. Then sold it and I was like, that's all right. It wasn't a huge margin. It was a couple of grand, but still. And it's like 5.5 grand I've just spent on that. And I think
Jesus,
the warranty company, Handler Protect, will pay probably a couple of grand or half of it pretty much. Which is better than a kick in the bollocks, but it's still a massive kick in the bollocks. I've ditched money on that car, obviously. And then that's why I'm trying to be really sensible now and just...
Yeah.
Because that's the thing people don't realise, isn't it? Because I'm really open. I'm going to do a video on, because funny enough, I've just had, my 24 accounts come through from the accountant. So I'm going to be like, this is exactly how much we made, and it's probably going to shock you. Because it's I think you get quite good at just being like, oh, bloody hell, I lost a couple of grand there. Never mind, move on to the next one. If it keeps happening and you just keep putting it to the side and you look at the end of the year, it's like, sorry, how much? 100 grand I lost on that. That was my profit for the year. I'm really, it's not in my nature to be analytical and safe and sensible. They are all not things that normally really describe me, especially when it comes to spending money.
If you keep peeing on an electric fence, eventually it's going to start stinging.
someone said to me in a comment the other day, I put a video out about something saying, yeah, stop whinging and just get on with it. I'm like, but I do. You couldn't do this job if you didn't. If you didn't, I might put a video out about it because I can earn some money talking about it. But at the end of the day, if you weren't able to move on, you wouldn't do the business because it can almost be daily, can't it? With some drama coming in.
It might not come across to most people with our attitudes and hardened exterior, James Alford especially.
Oh,
it's just, but we're all optimists. Yeah. We're all optimists. Yeah. We have to be. There was no way we would do this because, as James said, we're gamblers. This is our gambling. If I went to an auction and looked at every car I'd find something wrong with it. Every car has got a risk. Every car, because that's what happens when you buy a car on a video or something. Everyone's like, oh yeah, but you've got to watch out with those for the chains, those for the DPF, those for the EGR, those. It's like, yeah, it's all of them could have, there's no car out there that's completely safe. You can get a Tesla and the battery could be knackered or something, the software might have been blocked, who knows. But it is a risk, but we're obviously optimistic about it. Like, I reckon we might do all right out of this, and if we don't, then so be it. And then obviously we must be quite resilient at taking on the chin when it does go wrong.
I'm always optimistic. I am always optimistic, and every month I'm like, there's a car with an engine that needs fixing or an engine replacing. I'm like, next month we won't have any cars that need an engine in, but every month there's some car that needs fixing. So you've just got to accept. For me, it's the 80-20 rule. Of the 100% of cars we sell, 80% of them are going to be fine and 20% will be broke. As long as you can keep that percentage to 80-20, you'll be all right.
That's my eco.
I think that's what people don't understand when it comes to discounting as well and pricing. They like, the dealer's made a fortune out of me on my car. He might have done on your car, but he's now got to spread that across all these other ones over here that didn't make money. And now you're asking him to discount your car price-wise, but if he does, and then something goes wrong with it, you're going to still be on him, asking him to do the repair, aren't you? So that's what he's decided the margin he needs to have in the car for it to be feasible to sell it to you. Because at the end of the day, we're taking the gamble. They're not. They're buying from us. A small difference. I mean, in reality, the difference between private sale and retail these days can often be quite small, be like £500 or so forth. But we've got the gamble of the next 6 months of something going fundamentally wrong with it. They haven't got that gamble because they've got the backing of us. So realistically, when we say that's our price point, it should be that's our price point. For the gamble, that's what we're prepared to sell it to you for.
Considering the bad rep car dealers get, I think people should really like car dealers. They're prepared to take this massive risk. Tidy up the cars so that you can have a really nice, easy... Well, what are your other options? You go and buy the cars privately. It probably needs an MOT because they won't have bothered. It needs a really good valet. You might, if you want it to be clean, you're going to have to touch up the wheels, and you might want to put tyres on it, get like a health check on it. We do all of that. We'll help you finance it or pay for it on card or whatever. And then...
And we'll take your Part X riddle with bolts in.
Yeah. We'll take your part exchange so you can drive in and drive away and whatever and just forget about all those problems that you've been ignoring. No car comes in part exchange perfect, very rarely. And then, we're there for the next 6 months. Should something go wrong, we'll probably, whatever it is, they're going to work with you to a degree, whether they're on the hook or not. I mean, take James's example so I don't understand where this... I think there's just... People are just so personally emotional about cars that it's like an extension of them. People are passionate about cars. That's why they buy them. That's why they're a status symbol. And I think there's some psychological thing that if you don't give them a good valuation for their car, you're almost insulting them, not their car. Or
it's the second biggest purchase apart from a house. So obviously we know that buying a house is top scale, lose your mind... Realistically, if you did have hair, you're probably going to have less hair after buying a house. That's where you are. The next thing you've got is a car, and a lot of the time it's their transport mechanism for their children, their life, what's next in their life, whatever journey they're on. They believe that car is part of their journey, so they become so emotionally attached to it. Yeah. The emotions are so high, and what they do is when it doesn't go how they expected their journey to go, their emotions become your problem. They're on your lap. So stuff that would normally, say for example, you bought a microwave and it broke down. Like, you don't walk into Curry's, throw it at them, threaten to put it all over social media and set fire to their kids. I
couldn't feed my kids last night because the pizza couldn't be done or whatever.
Yeah, but they do
kids
that.
Were in the kitchen.
If the car comes a cropper. But yeah, it's just it's like I said, it's what we're up against. It's not easy.
Oh, I don't know. I just don't know what it is about cars because I don't think anyone gets that emotional about. They buy a house. If they bought a house and they went into the kitchen and it turns out that the oven that came with it for free and they weren't even expecting doesn't work, and they open a cabinet and the door falls off, they'd be like, oh, bloody hell, all right, well, we got to fix that or whatever. But they wouldn't be like phoning up the estate agent and like, you knew this was like this. How could you do this?
So true.
I can't get the boiler to work. How am I meant to work that? You gave me no instructions on how to work the boiler. And then you're like, sorry, have you turned the switch on the wall? Have you found the pack? They'll probably turn around and say, there's a pack in the cupboard. Have you found that explains all the stuff? Oh no, I hadn't seen that. You didn't tell me about that. It just doesn't happen. So why is it like that with
And
cars?
on a house, they've probably paid
It's
more for the
interesting
house.
'cause
They've probably paid
sorry.
more for the house as well. They've probably like paid for
Oh yeah,
like,
100%.
we'll give you this,
Yeah,
we'll give you
100%.
that for the house. But with cars, we'll give you less, but we want more.
And the house doesn't need to move
that's
around
it.
every day. And
Yeah.
But it's funny because I put a video out yesterday, was it, talking about a customer that came back for an alternator on a 2014 Mocha with 107,000 miles on. I happened to mention the video. The guy was saying, I hope I don't get more faults like this. And I said, well, it's like 10 years old now. I said, most of the components are at end of life. Some of them might need replacing. I said, it's still a good car fundamentally, but things like alternators, starter motors, they're not making it a bad car. It's just the components are end of life. And you see people jump in the comments and go, how can you say it's end of life? You're talking bullshit. You must be selling shit cars. It's like they don't understand that a car that, the manufacturer would only cover stuff for 3 years or 5 years. Starter motors don't last for 10 years. Alternators don't last for 10 years. Track control arms don't. Lower arms don't. Switches don't. Window mechanisms don't. Those things are at the point they're going to fail. It is an end-of-life car. I'm not saying the car can't be driven for another 10 years. It can be, but only if you put money into it to replace components as they fail. And people get their knickers in twists, and that makes me understand why they think a dealer's done them over when they sell them a 10-year-old car and something goes wrong with it in a month or two's time. Because they've got this belief that it should run perfectly. It's not going to.
Yeah.
Even the manufacturer bailed on that car years ago.
Because it's been through a dealer's hands, it now has a golden guarantee for 6 months.
Yeah, you've got X-ray vision. You know what the internals of the engine look like. You know what the internal windings of an alternator look like.
I had a guy in yesterday who's bought an F-Pace off of us, and we've had to put a couple of sensors on it. We're about to put. Oh, is this the puppy?
So this,
all our anger has gone away immediately.
Yeah.
We just my garage has got a dog behind the counter now, and they're like, every time I go down and blip my card for 1,500 quid, the dog just comes out, and I like forget about it. I'm like,
this is like that meme, isn't it? It's like whenever you're mean to a car dealer, this is who you're being mean to. That little puppy there.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he needed these sensors on this F-Pace. It's 105,000 mile F-Pace, and it's needed a couple of sensors in the first 4 months, and which we've replaced and sorted for him and whatever. And he's like, well, I hope this sorts it and we don't have any more problems. It's been a never-ending nightmare with this car. And I'm like, you have bought 105,000 mile Jaguar Land Rover product. He's like, oh yeah, well I know that now, but I didn't know it when I bought it and whatever and blah blah. It's like,
but it's your problem, not his. You fixed it.
Sorted it for you as well. Where is the just have a bit of respect, mate? Like,
where's the thanks?
Yeah,
where's the thanks?
It's like sorry, hang on. If you're irritated about this, how do you think I am, the one that's paying for these 250 quid sensors each and every time? Do you not think I would have done that beforehand and got some cheap one off eBay or something or whatever? Like, I don't know that was going to happen. I certainly don't want to. As I'm giving you money to fix this, I don't want to hear you moaning.
Joe, I can see why you have a salesman. I see why you have a salesman, mate.
Yeah. Honestly, yeah, it's pretty bad. I mean, the other thing, it shouldn't annoy me, but it does. Just silly stuff. A guy came in yesterday, and he phoned up yesterday, and he'd bought a battery off of us 2 years ago, and he wanted to know how much warranty he had in his battery, and we're like, don't know. It depends where it came from and whatever, and like, have you got the receipt? He's like, no, but I'll see if I can dig it out and bring it. It was a 50 quid bloody battery. And it's not going to cost us anything, but it's just like now we've got to search through all the paperwork and we've got to go through all the thingies to try and find out where it came from. It's like, it's been 2 years. Do you not think it might be a 50 quid investment's acceptable? But
I don't understand the people and their mindset behind this.
Because someone's to blame for everything, mate. That's what it is now. Someone is to blame for everything. You're no longer responsible yourself for anything. It is always someone else's fault.
Yeah.
Have you seen my dog Tugboat since he's had a haircut? Have you seen him before? He's just like this big fluffy thing.
I've seen him, but he's normally got a bit of a sideshow bob going on, hasn't he?
Yeah, well now he looks like the lead singer from like a glam rock band, and he's massive. Ready?
Hey!
The eye makeup.
It's a different dog.
That's a Mick Jagger.
How far that tongue's long?
I know. He looks completely different, doesn't he?
Oh, that's class.
Hey?
That's a proper
He
Rolling
looks
Stones
like he's
hairdo.
part of a
Oh,
80s
that's
rock
brilliant.
band.
I know. He looks like a lead, like from a Kiss tribute act or something.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. That's what I was trying to get. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, with the black eyes.
Yeah.
I haven't got my dog with me, but I have got 50% of his hair on my hoodie.
No, you always have that. I see when you've been cuddling your dog in your videos because you've covered in hair.
Brilliant.
But
Yeah,
So, Dave, how are you finding selling all your German stuff now? Do you think sales are going up?
You've just reminded me about dogs. Maybe I shouldn't. So basically, I used to bring my dog to work every day. Little Finley, little King Charles Cavalier, died last year. My best mate. And I used to bring him to work. And actually, I better not tell this story. You might have to cut it out, right? If you think it's bad, cut it out. But when we used to valet the cars, I didn't want to get hairs in the car. Do you know what I mean? So I used to put him in the boot, and then I'd drive home, and then take him out of the boot and put him in the house. But this one day, I had to go to the mechanics to drop this Focus off, and I put him in the boot, and I took him to the mechanics, and I left him in the fucking boot, didn't I? So 2 hours later, I was in Sheffield, which is like an hour away from the garage, and the mechanic rings up and he's like, "Do you know there's a dog in your boot?" I was fucking hell, that's my dog. He's like, "We've had the car on the ramp, we've done the clutch, he didn't make a noise or anything." And then we moved it and we heard this whimpering and we opened it and there's a little dog in the boot. And I was like, "Oh mate, I feel so bad."
He's sat in there while the clutch has been done.
He didn't even bark or anything. He was an absolute legend. So, do you think I'll get done for that?
Yeah,
I think it's healthy having them in the office. No, God, no.
No, it's 2 hours and he's got plenty of air, hasn't he?
But again, that's the thing about this job, isn't it? You just so 101 things going on that it's like impossible to remember. Bless him. So how is the new lovely German car?
I'm reinvigorated. I'm loving being a car dealer at the minute. Yeah. I'm really enjoying it because apart from yesterday, we are getting nicer customers, and just when I walk onto the pitch every day, I'm like, I feel right proud of all the stock and stuff, and it's just really nice. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and the views online.
Are they
Yeah, they're selling
well?
great. Yeah, so like Teslas, I'm doing really well with Teslas. Black Teslas, people seem to love them. They're like in and out.
What sort of margin are you getting out of a Tesla? Because I mean, a couple that I've sold have probably been about $2,000.
That's it.
Gross.
That's it. Yeah, $2,000.
Yeah, I can't seem to get much more out of them. Gross. Yeah. So it's not huge, but there's not a lot of prep to do, is there? And
no, I guess not.
And nothing touch wood. There's nothing to really go wrong with them apart from the battery. But I just find them really easy to sell. Well, James does, the salesman, and just having more desirable stock. It's just giving me that new burst of energy. So how long it will last, I don't know, but I'm enjoying it.
So how do you guys deal with the whole question of range then? When you advertise the cars, do you put a range figure down? Do you discuss range at all? Do you just stay off the subject?
Well, they do 320 miles.
I don't know.
You know, if you get a long range one,
really?
That's what I'm like. These cars are amazing. If you get a Tesla for 20 grand retail and you're getting 320 miles out of the range, it's a no-brainer, isn't it, to have one? Because it's not so bad.
What did they come out of factory range-wise? And the range dropped on them or not?
I think
not hugely. They might have lost like 20 miles or something, but they only degrade. The ones that you don't want, I think, are the low mileage ones because they haven't been used and they haven't gone through their charging cycle and whatever. So the ones that have done because the ones I've bought have been around about the 90,000 mile mark, and none of them need. Well, I might want some tyres, but
see, that's mental, isn't it? Because people would consider a 90,000 mile engine probably halfway through its life. So let's say it's at 50% easy of its lifespan, and then you buy a 90,000 mile Tesla and you're saying what's the range drop by like 2 or 3% or something.
What's interesting is when I did a video on the Teslas, it surprised even me. I wasn't like that fussed about EVs. Obviously, I like petrol cars. I'm a petrol head, and that's why I've got a load of V8s and stuff here. But I just didn't realise just like how much like vitriol there was for EVs. People were literally just like unsubscribing just because I put up a video about a Tesla, and I was just like, I bought this in, and this is it. Bloody hell, it's fast. Whatever.
There's no logic to it either, is there? There's just no logic to a lot of their arguments.
It's all just people just want to.
What if you needed to go to Scotland?
Their agenda and then gob off about it. I don't know why. I think it's, as I said before, I think it's Clarksonism. It's just like, oh no, it's not a proper car. Because people are like, oh, the battery will degrade. Good luck. That's going to cost you 20 grand when the battery goes. It's like they're on like some of them are on like 500,000 miles, and the battery's still at like 98%.
And if you rocked up to BMW and wanted a new crate engine for your M5 after it was 10 years old, how much would they charge you for that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
and everyone's saying, oh yeah, good luck getting repairs and whatever. And Dave said that you go to a Tesla centre, they book you a slot, they get it done. It's really cheap. People were saying I got it wrong because I said, oh, the little key cards that you use to get in, they're only 100 quid, which actually is quite cheap. And everyone's like, no, they're not. Literally, you go on via the screen and you order them. They're 15 quid each, and you reprogram yourselves.
Dave, don't they even tell you how much the bill's going to be when you book in Tesla?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just like a set
so we
charge,
had a chap, he had something wrong with the indicator, and they said, oh, it's going to be 130 quid plus VAT. And that's what it was, 130 quid plus VAT. So
Look, James has moved forward. He's like engaged. He's interested now.
I'm not. It offends me. I dislike it. Like, I get it. Like, we had a little i3, and my wife Joe, she only drives 4 miles a day to work, and then like one day she was like, "Oh, I'm going to go to Newton Abbot," and then drove to Newton Abbot, and then run out of range. Couldn't charge it anywhere. All the places were full up. Like it was, and like she was just like, "Burn it."
Yeah, I mean, I bought a really cheap Leaf and gave it to my missus because I thought it'd be perfect, but that was just shocking. But this is why I say to her, I think if you're going to get an EV or stock an EV, get a Tesla, get a high-end one with a decent range. I think they're the ones that will hold their money. The ones that are like these little toy ones, like we had a Citroen C0 here that was awful. We managed to sell it in the end, but yeah,
the only one I've had in that Kia I thought was a brilliant car, but it dropped £1,000 in the time I had it, and that was only a couple of months. I only managed to sell it when I was well under what everybody else said it was worth. But I thought it was actually a really good car for someone just running around locally.
But the thing is, people, I think with a Tesla at least, it's a brand, isn't it? It's a brand name. So people want them. People think, oh, if I'm going to get an electric car, it's like Hoover or Coke, for dark soda or whatever. That's the name. So I think people will be looking for them. But some people, I think for new cars, people might be like, oh, I like Kias. Let's go to Kia. And I want to try an electric car, and they've got the Soul. They might buy one, but I bet there aren't that many people like the one electric car that I really want is the Soul, and they're looking for that. I bet yours was found in a search criteria that was electric, and then under 10 grand, and then it's just one that popped up. It's just.
I still maintain that if you drove them back to back, like I said in my video, you had the 2014 Clio 1.2 petrol automatic, and then you had my 2016 Kia with the EV, and the two of them next to each other, and they're both the same price point, pretty much, I think. And if you drove them back to back, you would have bought the Kia all day long, every day.
Oh, James, what were you doing? It is all electric cars. Then are you going to start stocking them, or will you just give up? Yeah.
Me? What? No, I'd retire before I stocked electric cars. It's not for me.
Well, to be fair, I mean, down this way, it'll take a lot longer, won't it?
Yeah, there's no infrastructure for electric cars down our way. Like they've just abolished all the ULEZ zones in Plymouth. So I think they were set to come in 2026, and they've just banged it up to like 2035. I just don't.
Where is our nearest ULEZ? Is Bristol, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. I put videos up on cars and people go, "They'll never sell. It's not ULEZ." I'm like, you do realise there's places outside of Bristol and London in the world, don't you?
Yeah.
Thank God.
Well, I'm down in Bandit country, so it's nothing functions down here. So we're okay. We're still on red
there
diesel.
is.
Then.
I mean, EVs is a whole different thing to get into, isn't there? But they do sort of say that even to get to where they're suggesting, just with the new cars coming out as electric, there isn't infrastructure. There isn't enough electric, supply in the country to power these cars. If you're doing them on a solar thing at home, that's fine, but there just isn't enough.
Yeah.
To charge all those things with these fast chargers or whatever they are, 750 megawatt, whatever.
The other thing is on the motorways as well.
enough.
When you charge them up, it's just as expensive as putting petrol in. Because I put like 150 mile on this Tesla on the motorway, and it still cost me like I think 30 quid, something daft like that. So if you are going to charge them up, you need to.
I like Joe.
Sorry, James.
And they're
No,
taxing
like
them
Joe
now,
said,
well,
I
you have
don't
to
see
pay
it
road
as an
tax on it.
economy thing. Yeah, I don't see it as an economy thing anymore. I don't think you're going to be saving money by running one.
I think you can if you charge at home on a tariff and all that sort of pain in the arse stuff. You get that Optimus energy overnight charging. But people don't want to do that, do they? It's like, who wants to go from like, oh, we've got this thing that's really convenient. It's this big metal box. You hop in it, you fire it up, and you can drive it anywhere you want. Almost unended. All you got to do is keep putting this magical juice in, and you can go all over the country and into other countries if you want. To then, you know how good that thing was? Well, we've got something else. It's not quite as good. It's a little bit. It's harder work, and you need special places in order to redo it, to recharge
I believe the opposite. I think if we'd all had houses with solar panels and chargers, and we drove home every night and plugged our car in and then just got it and went to work every day, the idea of having to go out of our way to join a queue of people outside a load of pumps and wait while the person in front of us decides they want to do their weekly shop rather than just pay for their fuel before we come out, I think people would be like, that's a massive inconvenience. So I think if it had been the other way around, I think people would be whinging just as much.
But the thing is, James, if it had been the other way around, or let's think of it the other way around, we've already got the infrastructure of all the petrol stations everywhere. If you drive for 5 or 10 minutes a few minutes in a town, you're going to hit a petrol station. And you don't need to sway off the road and go into an industrial estate or around a shopping centre to find out where the charging station may be. Which you do for electric now, do you know what I mean? Or you use an app and you find it, and then you've probably got to sign up for an app. Although I know there are things now where you can get a card, and it's because it is the new thing. It doesn't matter which way around it is. It is now more inconvenient. It's something you've got to relearn. You may get in your car and you can whatever, but doing it this other way around, it's like, right, you can carry on driving, but you've got to learn a whole new skill set and be inconvenienced. And the way it works now is you go to a petrol station, if the one's busy, you drive past, you get to the next one that's not busy. Whereas you could spend all day driving around sometimes looking for a charging station, and there's queues of people charging up because it's the only place they can charge, and they can't drive. They can't just, stick a bit of fuel in and drive on to the next one or whatever. It just...
No, I mean, currently I agree with that, like I say, but if we'd already lived in a world where everyone had a home charger and solar panels on their roof and were charging their cars at home, the idea of stopping off at a petrol station would be like, and the cars had 500-mile range, everybody would be outraged at the idea now we're going to be forced to join the general public in these one places to go and get their fuel.
Why stop there, James? What about if we had Jetson cars?
And we all we're going to have drone cars soon.
Floating about over all the traffic.
We are going to have that, aren't we? We're going to have
drone
cars soon, and we won't. We just get in it, and they'll take us where we want to go. We won't. Yeah. We won't get any involvement in driving at all.
No.
And then all our old cars will have to keep in sheds and have to trailer 2 tracks, and that's the only place we'll be allowed to drive them.
Fair enough. Chops, what's next for Chops? Are you going trade? You going retail? You made up your mind? Changed your mind?
I don't know. I go back and forth all the time. See, the thing is, you drop off cars like you did yesterday. I love the idea of getting it in, machine polishing it, doing the paint in the corner, cleaning it all up. I love doing that shit. I really do. And then, like I say, it's a nice $5,000 car, and it'll sell all day long. But the reality of what I'm currently doing is I've got a yard full of 2017, 18, 19 cars, mega low miles. Just picked up one from a subscriber yesterday, 29,000 mile, 2015 Capture, 35,000 mile Peugeot automatic on a 17, another Peugeot on like an 18. I've got a BMW coming in later today on like a 14, but with 50,000 miles, two owners from you. So everything I've got is actually really, really nice. And yes, I've traded some of the lumpier stuff out. My most expensive buy ever is going to Mr. Cubitt. He just rang me while I was here, actually. So I did double down and spend a lot of money on an X5 the other day, but I had it underwritten by Mr. Cubitt already. But yeah, trade. I would quite like to do full-blown trade because it would allow me to spend the rest of my time in next door, welding shit like this up and playing with it and fixing it up. Because cars would just come and go really quickly, and I'd have the time to do the things I want to do. But the other side of me says if I'm getting cars in with 30,000 miles that are like 5 or 6 years old and they're mint and they're one owner and they're full service history, that it's a bit of a retail no-brainer, isn't it?
Sit on it.
Just they need hardly any valeting, they need no paint. So
what's more important? Do you want to try and maximize profits, or do you want to maximize time working on your classics and getting on with that sort of stuff?
I guess I aren't as money hungry as I maybe think I am. I do like money, but I do like a good work-life balance, and what I really enjoy doing is tinkering on cars, and I don't do that really at all anymore because I'm so busy retail prepping everything. So,
I would try and trade everything.
I wouldn't, Joe. I'd keep all the nuggets and I'd sit on them and not, because I think if you're trading cars, you've got to be trading all the time. You've got to be like, you'd be on the phone all the time. But if you got loads of nice cars, sit on them, retail them, then you will have time to work on the stuff that you do want to work on.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think I've got the volume to go full trade. I'd need a lot more stock to go full trade. I'd need to turn over a lot more cars than I currently have. So I'm probably doing it the wrong way around. I let a lot of nice cars go out and keep some of the ones that... my viewpoint is always like trade-wise, the easiest trade sale is a car that needs next to no prep. So that I tend to offer those out. And if something does need a bumper corner paint into it, or it needs the other doing, like I just kept hold of a Kia, what is it? What's those sort of MPV Kias?
Venga?
Venga, yeah. 28,000 miles, one owner, 2015, 2016, but both the doors are dinged in. So that's probably something I should trade out and let someone else get on with, because it'll make a good car, but I just sent it off for paint. Yeah, people say everyone said to me, Venga, they sell like mad.
I can't sell them.
They don't sell like mad, but they are genuinely good cars.
Yeah. I love Kia. Anything with a Kia petrol engine or a Hyundai with a petrol engine, they're just like the simplest things in the world, aren't they? There's not a lot to go wrong with them.
On it if it was a bag of dicks. That's the facts.
Yeah.
So they are genuinely good cars. You know, the build quality. They have got that Japanese build quality-esque, but it's the better end of the Japanese build quality. So
see, I'm finding Nissans of the 14s and stuff like that, and 12s not as good as the Hyundais and the Kias for the reliability.
All the Nissans of that area, they're French built. They've got all French
parts.
Renault,
aren't they? Yeah.
Renault.
Yeah. So yeah, I think I just get to a point sometimes where the yard's full, and I go, well, I could just trade all that and make a month's wage just trading all that out. And then other times I look at it and go, what am I doing? There's like a good margin in that, and it needs no prep. So why aren't I retailing it?
And like Dave said, you'd be on the phone 24/7 trading, like ringing people up. Got this for you, got this for you, got this for you, and you get dicked about, and before you know it, you just end up with a lot of stress. So yeah, it might be worth maybe sitting on some nuggets and retailing it, popping out, keeping hold of a little bit more stuff.
Well, see, I think you're right, guys. I was thinking about it. What frees me up time to do more of this is if I'm buying 2017, 18, 19 low mileage cars that need no prep, then all I'm doing is watching and photographing them and sticking them in for a ticket, and they don't need much doing. So that actually frees me up quite a lot of time to tinker, because the other stuff I was doing, the cars I need to be painting and I need to be refurbing alloys on and I need to be doing the work on. So that is actually what prevents me from being able to do more of what I want to do. So I kind of answered my own question by voicing out to you guys there, I think.
Ta-da!
So all my good part exchanges are gone now.
Sorry, Joe.
No, I'm still chicken shit above 10k. I'm still chicken shit above 10k. So you're good, all good with that.
I think it makes sense, but I think what I would caveat with that is obviously trading out all your sort of cheaper stuff from whatever you get in. But you said something then like, oh, the cheaper stuff, the ones I got, whatever. I wouldn't be doing any prep of any kind whatsoever to anything other than is your retail stuff. So the trade stuff It just goes as is. Even if you think the wheels look shit and you might get a bit more money if the wheels, let them deal with that.
Oh no, I don't touch the trade stuff.
No, okay,
I don't
fair
touch
enough.
the trade stuff. But you know what was really, you came over and part of this rejig was what you were saying to me, and I just had I basically bundled all my crap together and sold it to a guy I know who loves that kind of stuff. Not crap, but all the cheap stuff that was filling up the hedgerow along the left-hand side and was all stuff I thought I'd get to. And I was thinking, there's a bit of profit in that one, a bit of profit. I'm going to lose a little bit in that one. But by bundling them all together, I actually made a profit across the whole lot of them. And they were just all untidy cars. And I came into work after they're all gone. I thought, I've only got like nice stock outside now. I haven't got a hedgerow full of there's a few more there, random stuff. And I thought, yeah, I didn't make a lot of money out of them, but they're out of my hair now. And whether that one ended up costing $1,000 to get it for an MOT or not is somebody else's problem. He'll work his way through them. And I stay in touch with him. He's like, yeah, some of them, James, were winners, and some of them cost me more than I thought they would. I mean, he doesn't mind painting the corners and doing the wheels like I did at the beginning. But yeah, I've kind of made that decision just to get out of them.
Yeah, quite refreshing when you do it like
Definitely.
that, I think.
Yeah,
It's funny.
Which is why I'd already sold the two you said down to me. Somebody else fully got you.
You've already traded them on?
I'd already traded them on before you got them down here.
Works fine for me. I don't care.
No, but it worked because I could make a couple more quid out of that. So the way that worked well is I wasn't making quite as much out of the RAV4 potentials as I would have liked. But by you bringing me those two down and me then trading them straight out, I made what I wanted to make. Do you know what I mean? Without any more real effort.
Do you know what I find funny about your place, especially as the more I come down there and you're like, oh, you didn't, I don't know if people would come here and buy the more expensive stuff and whatever. I honestly think that if I could just swap the location, I'd take your place over my place.
Really?
Yeah, you've got all that space out the front. You've got your two units, one that you can have as a showroom display office type thing. The other one that you can have, it's all new and fresh and whatever. All my stuff's here, all old and whatever. But you've got all that space around the front and back, and it's just, I don't know, it just feels like in a sense, as you've said, you've got like unlimited space. I'd probably be tempted to rent the units next door so that no one.
Yeah, someone is moving out the unit next door. Actually, the two units next door, I could take both those on for another. It'd be about another. Well, I'd probably do a deal where it'd be about another K. Probably wouldn't have to pay the same amount to do if I took 4 of them, and I could have another 2 units. But why would I do that? Because that's just inside space. All I'm doing is keeping cars clean, isn't it? Really.
Fill it full of bloody cars and have all the parking spaces at the front. I'm not saying you should do it, but I'm just saying this is what I would do.
Yeah.
Fill it up.
And I think you'd have a brilliant
fill it
place.
up.
Yeah, but then you'd have to employ somebody. You'd have to get some help.
If you fill it up.
Sorry, exactly, James. And I have to employ people and I have to start dealing with staff, which is
yeah. You're not going to have
with.
if you do that, then you're not going to have time to do the other bits that you want. So it's irrelevant.
And what about you, James? Do you trade loads of cars out, or will you try and retail?
I don't trade any cars out. I don't trade anything out. I don't buy from other dealers. I just don't do any of it. Like the problem I've got is I've probably got about, I don't know, like 5 dealer friends down here, and I ring them up, each of them sort of once a month, and just do a welfare check. Not because a lot of dealers, like, they normally ring each other and they want something, or they want to trade a car, or they need a favour. So I normally ring them up and just make sure they're okay. And I don't like to trade stuff to people till I know, just because I don't really know. And I personally feel guilty once I've sent it out. Like if it wasn't a moneymaker for you, I get like a guilt feeling. So say, for example, I traded a car to one of you guys, I would feel terrible if it didn't make me money, or if you lost out on it, or something went wrong. And I value like the friendship, or just people that understand what we go through as dealers, more than making a couple of quid on a trade sale. Even if you bought it for what I paid for it, it wouldn't be able to sit right with me. So we don't trade anything out. I let the sales guys have the little part exchanges that come in, and if we can't retail it, they have it and they deal with it themselves, and they can deal with the general.
Yeah, see, I've done that. I feel guilty as well, and I've done it where I've traded a car and I thought, that's a trade sale, and then something's gone wrong with it, and I've gone, do you know what? I have this one for what it owed me, and have the next one for what it owed me, so you can make out of those two, and then end up not making money out of it. It can be difficult, I say, because you know how hard the trade is. So the last thing you want is for someone to, like Rob with this X5. My God, I mean, I did a code read and videoed the code read. I was telling Dave earlier, I literally was like photographing, videoing every brake disc pad, tyre, wheel scratch, even to the point where he said, are you sure the bodywork will buff up enough? And I'm like getting a polisher out and I'm polishing it and recording it as I'm polishing it, just to be sure it actually will come out because I was like, even though I've left really fat margin in it, I'm like, if it went wrong, I'd just feel terrible.
Yeah, I guess that would be the other thing that I would find stressful. Would be dealing with other traders, if you were trading all the time, would be the traders' expectations. The same people you've got to deal with again. And if you turn something, you can tell they're disappointed, even though you've tried to, describe it the best you can. Then that would start.
It's like I offered
You
that.
absolutely have to cherry pick who you do
Sorry,
trade
James.
with.
I offered you that GTI, didn't I, earlier this week, Joe? And that is a spot. I'd only offer it if it was a spot on car, and it was. And even then, you were like, "Oh, I daren't have it because I think it might bugger up." So,
well, it's not so much that. It was because it was modified. It's just I'm trying.
Yeah.
And what I said to you, I think, was as like, yes, I would normally have had it, and I still am tempted as it is now, but. What I'm trying to really rein myself in to be like, buy the sensible cars that don't need the prep, and let's cut down on that because I'm not making as much money as I'd like to at all. And I just think sometimes you're better off out of those. I was going to say something that James Alford said when he came down to my place the other day, which surprised me. I'd never heard anyone sort of saying it before, but he won't talking about trading stuff. He won't sell anything that someone's already tried to sell before, double advertising or whatever you called it. So someone's already had a crack at advertising it. Say like when I had my Swift and I sent it up to Theo and he sold it like within no time whatsoever. That's just like a red flag to James. He just won't do it.
Won't do it.
Surprised me.
If someone's had a go first, I just won't do it. Just because, and it's like a lot of people. I know that there's some traders in Plymouth buy off Facebook, so that person might have seen that car on Facebook for $2,000 less than whatever they've bought it. And it's just like a domino effect, like long term, as to what, because people can sort of paint an image of us. Obviously, they think that we're like these, dark art criminals or whatever. But we're not. We're just trying to earn a couple of quid. And they forget that we've got 9 members of staff and, we've got to pay exorbitant amounts of money to the tax man. Like, realistically, we work for the tax man, if you put it politely. So... again, I try and avoid all of those situations. Like, I won't sell a car to anybody that I know. So if somebody rings me up and goes, "Look, can you sell me a car?" I'll be like, "Absolutely not." And I'll point them to one of the dealers that I know.
2 seconds.
And I'll say, "Go and buy a car off those guys." I won't sell a car to a member of staff. They won't. They're not allowed to buy a car from us. They've got to go and buy from another dealer. And like we got the gym that I go to. Like, we do a little bit of sponsorship with them, but I won't sell to anyone in there because that's my little safe space. So like, I wouldn't want to go there and be like, "Oh no, that's something's happened to that vehicle or whatever," and I wouldn't want to go there and have to have that conversation. So it's just like avoid it, like trying to separate work and life, and that's sometimes you got to make those sacrifices. And like
that is, it's very sensible.
Apologies there, James. That was Rob.
That's all right,
James. That's so true.
Yeah. He sat there on the phone, fucking hell, it's Brooke.
That was pretty it, yeah.
Do you know, it's funny you say about buying stuff off Facebook Marketplace, because when I started out, that's all I ever used to do, Facebook Marketplace, Gumtree, all that sort of stuff. And I did used to get people being like, "Oh, this is the same car that was up for sale for 1,500 quid less last week. Like, why would I pay 1,500 quid more?" And you're like, "Well, because I own it now. And I'm not going to sell it to you for 1,500 quid less. You should have bought it when I bought it." But
got Joe tax on it now.
Hey?
It's got Joe tax on it now.
Yeah, quite tax.
What do you do with all your Part X's, James, and you're not going to retail? Do you just put them in auction?
No, the sales guys have them.
You just missed this conversation. Oh,
sorry. What do the sales guys do with them then?
They retail them on Facebook Marketplace themselves.
Oh, okay.
So
right.
It's like a I don't know, I say a little present. It's like a little Brucey bonus for them. They do me a favour by getting it off site. I don't have to deal with external traders because I don't like other people. I've dealt with traders in the past, and I really don't like them coming in and out of the business because they waste a lot of our time.
Yeah.
So they'll come in and want to have a look around the car, bid us up on it, do this, do that, and it's just like, I don't have 40 minutes to entertain you on a £200 shitter. I don't physically have that time. So I'd rather just give it to those guys, and they're happy, they appreciate it, and they don't take the piss.
You sell it to them or you give it to them?
I let them pay me for it once they've sold it.
That's really
Okay.
kind.
So does that not ever come back on you again? Oh, James, that one ended up having all these problems.
Not my problem. And I don't think they're stupid enough to realise. I don't think they're stupid in the fact that they couldn't bite the hand that feeds them. They're not going to win every time.
Yeah.
And also, as well, you've got to remember, they underwrote that part exchange. So if they bought in a shitter, it's on them anyway. Like, you know,
and James, you won't let them sell it
properly.
from your business premise, will you? Yeah.
No, take it home. Don't want to know about it.
That's what I do with my missus, but
you get
still
to know
my
all
problem.
about it.
Yeah.
That's the problem, yeah.
She's
That's
like, where's the jump pack? Where's this? Why hasn't that? Where's the paperwork? I was like, well, you had it. She's like, oh, yeah, I probably left it home. Could you bring it to me?
Just working with family.
This is exactly
you can't do it. You can't work with family.
I thought about setting up a little business for my daughter like that, just letting her have all the cheapy part exchanges, show her how to make a profit and this kind of stuff. But then I thought about it afterwards. Thought, I'll live with it forever.
Not worth it.
So, Joe, what are you doing to reduce your stress levels? Because you seem to be completing everything at the moment, but you seem to be like in a little dark spot where probably need a little bit of time off, or turn the engine down a bit.
As many. So, yeah, you're right. I have decided that I'm like, oh bloody hell, I am doing too much. And what's annoying is it means that all the things that I've just got, without banging the same old drum, I just try to do too many different things. So I'm trying to just focus in and not doing as many videos and different channels and things like that. I just need to concentrate on the garage and have a bit more of a hand in that. So yeah, trying to buy stuff that's going to cause us less problems. Hopefully, I keep looking at maybe I should everything we've talked about today. Maybe I should get another little site and do all the cheapies and stuff like that. I was even looking at buying a house across the road because it's got this big yard at the back that's even bigger than this, and it's like 30 seconds away, and all these stupid ideas. But I'm just going to stick at what we're doing and just try and do it better. I've already got the farm. I might try and get one of the buildings done up there and have the lads prepping out there, maybe. But
does any of that reduce your stress levels, or like reduce your workload at all? It sounds like a lot of sounds really stressful.
Yeah, it probably will be.
Talking to me about it, I'm like, oh, that's another 20 hours in a week that nobody's got.
But do you know what? The biggest stress for me? What has been is that I was doing all the videos and everything. And then we're like, we'll do the podcast channel, and then we'll do just stuff for the garage, so Barrow Motors as well. And I was like, we'll do, I have a schedule. And I'd come in and just to get those things edited and, you need to film this bit, you need to do that bit. And then I'd have like an hour at the end of the day to come and see what's been going on in the garage. And I'm like, you've done what? You've bought what? Why is this? Who hasn't? Why haven't they done? And yeah, it just wasn't very sensible. So I'm just cutting back.
Good. And less is more, Joe.
That sounds good. Well,
yeah, 100%. It's just how my brain's wired up. I just can't help myself. And there's always I'm really trying to just make sure that I'm like, just stick at what you're doing. Don't try and do 101 other things. So yeah, buying nicer stock, try and get turnover up, profits up, and rather than like trying to find extra space and that's like long-term things, doing stuff at the farm. It's just getting nicer stuff in and just trying to get the turnover up.
How's your excitement levels at the moment? Because obviously, like Dave, I can see Dave is giddy with life at the moment, and it's really nice to see. Like that, I can't explain to you how nice it is. I've been through that a couple of times where you walk onto your forecourt and you're like your chest is like, you feel like you got a big gorilla chest, and you're like, oh my god, this is great. How are you feeling?
Can I just say
moment?
something as well? Sorry to interject. Fucking hell. My ex-wife has moved my kids up to Newcastle, and I'm actually living in Newcastle now 3 days a week, and I'm living in Sheffield running the business 4 days a week, and I live in like a one-bedroomed tiny little flat that I bought as a studio, and I've turned it in one-bedroom flat. It's tiny, but I've never been happier. It's like, it's the simple life. I've literally I'm living like a monk in there. I've got the bed. I haven't even got a telly. I just look at my phone, got the internet, and then I come to work, and I'm just so excited to come to work, go to CrossFit on a night, what I'm trying to say is like you don't need a lot in life to make you happy. That's what I've noticed. Because when my ex-wife moved up to Newcastle, it was like the world had ended. I was like, oh my God, I'm not going to get see my kids, but I've got a house in Newcastle that I rent, and I get to see the kids 3 or 4 days a week. And what I'm trying to say is, you don't need a lot in life to be happy, and that's what I've realised from all this shit that I've been through the last few months, and I feel great now.
Yeah, so it's lovely to see. Like, it's nice to, and you can see it on your videos. Like, you can see, like, if you looked at your videos like 12 months ago, like, you can see like a difference in like you, like it radiates through
Thank you.
and it's nice to see, because it is a difficult industry for us to be in. Like, I've changed some things around. So like the last 12 months have actually been really difficult for me. So I set up the car centre 2017 and the van centre 22, I think. The first year was okay, but obviously I diluted myself and I tried to do 2 businesses, and I didn't have the mental or physical power to do it. And the knock-on effect over time at home, like your partner accepts that over a period of time, but then eventually they go, do you know what? Like, enough is enough. I'm getting a shitter version of you. So I've sort of reevaluated what I'm doing for the next 18 months or so, and I feel like a massive weight's lifted off my shoulders, and I feel like hopefully I'm going to be somewhere where Dave is in the next 6 months, just because I feel like I've overdone it and like burnt the wick a little bit at the other end. And it's just, you've got to watch that. And I think like us having a chat like this sometimes puts it in perspective and is like, do you know what, actually, maybe I should reel it in, focus on what makes me happy, and I'll do a better job of my actual job because I'm in the right frame of mind.
Do you know what? Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Like me, what I've started doing, we went to pick up this capture down at where we're crediting the other day. And my wife, I brought her into the business now, and I've got her running me around a bit. And we went to get the car, and we went by this new garden centre, and we're like, sod it. We can rush back and get into prep, or we can stop and we can have a coffee, we can have a bit of cake. Do you know what I mean? And then every now, and what I've been doing as well is like every week or every other week, we've been going out to lunch as well, just going out, because it's just like you say, it can just completely swallow you up, and you're like, I get that car back, get that prepped and photographed and up for sale. And if you get done today, it's up today, and it's like, but there is always tomorrow. You can take a bit of time out here and there. You will be all right. It won't be the end of the world if that doesn't go up for sale today.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're all 100% bang on. Do you know what? It's funny because we're obviously all having the same sort of thoughts at the same time, and I'm just like, I'm just my own worst enemy. As like when we had Rob on, I was sort of saying I'm like infected with ambition. I can't help myself from trying to do 1,000,001 things. I'm actually really, it'd be nice to take some time off. I quite want to go and do the North Coast 500 in the camper van with the missus and whatever, and those sorts of things. And
book it in, make it work. Make it work around it.
Yeah, no, I 100%. I am going to. And yeah, just like my goal has always been to like, take your foot off the pedal a little bit. But what I end up doing is doing the complete opposite. So I am, working on all of that, trying to.
So this time next week we'll have a conversation, and you've booked in the North Coast 500 with the missus. Everyone's a winner, and we can take a little bit of credit for that.
And like James knows this from CrossFit and that, and exercising with your gym. Like, rest is the most important thing. That's what builds your muscle to come back stronger. You know 100%. What I mean?
Yeah.
Sleep's a big.
I hope you were referring to me on CrossFit then. I hope that was the other James.
Yeah.
Thank God. It's fucking CrossFit.
Yeah, I've realised I'm spreading myself too thin, and I'm not doing anything that I'm doing as well as I want to. So I need to pick what I actually want to do, which is funny how you just end up reassessing like that. But yeah,
it's like me with my bike license. I was like, I haven't got time to do it. And then I was just like, booked it this month. I'm just going to do it. Just 2 days out, just going to my bike license. There's never a good time to do it. Just do it. So you just got to book these things, and then you'll make it work.
Yeah, 100%. Or stress about it when it comes around. That's what I tend to do. But But yeah, and so what's really funny is that as I've talked about it with Dave before, and he was talking about getting his other garage and whatever. Do you know my sort of I don't know what you'd call it, but like one of my like fantasies, don't worry, non-sexual, it's just having, like Dave's got, like a little flat that's really easy to take care of, very minimum effort. I just got somewhere I can put my head down, and it's like a cozy base, but it hasn't got a garden I've got to worry about. It hasn't got a garage full of shit everywhere, and it hasn't got, like, I got on my farm, like, an acre of grass that needs cutting every week, and all these other things. I could go home in clean clothes, to have a nice shower, sit down, relax, cook a nice bit of food, and all that sort of stuff. That's like a fantasy to me, and that's partly why I think that, and I don't mind taking risks doing stuff, because I know that if I lost everything and I had, like a little flat like Dave's living out of, I'd be really content.
That's what I said this week.
It totally makes sense, though, doesn't it?
So James, that's what I said.
We come to a job every day. Sorry, Karen.
Sorry. This is what I said this week to Joe, my partner. I was like, I don't mind buying all these better cars at the minute, because even if we lose all the money of the business, I'll just end up back in a little flat like this. And I love this little flat. So even if I lose all my money, I already know that I'm going to be all right.
Yeah. If you lose the money, what you gain is time and whatever for yourself. If you could live off on a smaller wage doing whatever, and you'd have the time for your gym, you'd have time for relaxing and planning things. So in some ways, we've all obviously been quite successful and made successes of our businesses, but in other, and I might think, and I haven't had to work for someone else, but in other ways I do envy some people who work for other people, but they clock off and then they've got their whole evening to themselves. They're not thinking about work, they're not looking at cars to buy, they're not stressing about money or whatever, and they'll book their holidays, and they literally work to live, whereas some of us live to work. I certainly do.
I think the thing about the flat and the small home and all that makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Because we come to work every day with a raft of things that all need work doing to them. They need prep, and the premises needs work and all that kind of stuff. So when you get home, the last thing you want to do is going back somewhere. It needs a load of maintenance and a load of work. If you can go back somewhere where, like I say, it's just a little oasis where nothing needs work, you're not thinking about prepping anything or repairing anything. There's something nice about that, isn't there?
Well, I've actually been where Dave was. So in 2017, I got divorced. I had two businesses with my ex-wife, and I got divorced, and I moved into a little 2-bedroom flat, and I had my kids in the 2-bedroom flat. But obviously, when they weren't there, like, it was like a little utopia. I had a chair, a table, and a television, and like I can't tell you the peace. You see these pictures on the internet of like a bloke with a mattress on the floor, a camp chair and a television, and they're like, rate my setup, and all the blokes are like 10, 10, 10, 10, 10. There's nothing to clean, there's nothing to do, there's no project, there's no nothing. We are simple creatures, because in our real life job, it takes everything from us. And like when we get home, we've got nothing. Our social, our social energy is like 5%. You've got nothing for anybody else in your life, and then you go home to this like magical little space. It almost feels like it's naughty because it's so calm and pleasant. I completely get what Dave's going through, and there's a lot of blokes out there that have been through that, and like that is a really, really happy time. Like you said, no garden, no maintenance, no nothing. Brilliant, absolute gold.
Yeah, I've got a bloody load of fields to mow now. I'm gonna have to dip out, unfortunately, guys, because I've got someone here, and I don't want to be in and out of the camera all the time, so I'm gonna have to dip out.
We're knocking on anyway, only because we're getting into
brilliant,
the deep
getting a bit deep now, but yeah, I don't want to tear up on camera. That's the other thing. As always, lovely to see all of you. Good to see you, James. Good to see you, Dave. Dave, send me some of your energy over.
I will do.
Yeah.
It's Dr. Joe's podcast now. That's what it's turned into.
I'll turn you off, Chop. Just leave it for a minute till it uploads.
I'll just get some invoices across to you quickly, Joe, all right?
Yeah, no worries. That'll cheer you up.
Here's the keys, in case anyone's upset they haven't seen them today.
Oh, that would drive me insane. Might as well stick
That's almost as bad as a Tesla.
Oh, God.
All right.
Brilliant. Thank you.
There we are. Right, we better wrap up. Yeah, I need to do some real work. Well, I've had my therapy to that session.
Yeah.
So, it's telling me James. Yeah. Thanks again for coming on, James, and we'll catch up soon.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
See you soon.
James.